Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Live Market Analysis. It's Monday, 26th of February. How time flies. A few people have sent me emails saying, hey, Carl, what happened to last week's webinar? There was no webinar last week. I was in Melbourne for Taylor Swift. What an amazing experience that was for all concerned. But very happy to be back in Perth and to be speaking with you tonight about markets. Enough of the introductions. Apart from talking about the disclaimer, which says that everything we're going to discuss tonight is general advice only. It means it has not taken into account your personal financial circumstances or particular needs. So before acting upon this very general advice, you should consider it carefully or seek the help of a financial professional to determine its appropriateness for you. Other than that, it's important to remember that if you invest, inevitably you're going to lose money. And I really hope we can talk about earnings season in tonight's session. I want to go over some of your biggest wins and your biggest losses. See if there's anything we can learn from each. As I said, you're going to lose money at some stage. Ultimately, it's you, not I, who's responsible for everything you do. With that in mind, get the questions rolling, and I will endeavour to give you my best technical analysis reader on any stock you'd like to talk about, or anything indeed to do with trading, any of the three M's, the methodology, the money management, and the mindset. Let's head over here to the AB Broker screen to start off with, and while your requests are coming in, I'm just going to go to my email over here because I did have a couple coming in offline, and I do want to get to those if I can figure out. Let's do it this way. Or not do it that way. Okay, I'm going to find it. Here we go. No, that's not it. Stock requests. Brendan has SXE and BKW. Let's have a look at those to start off with. SXE and BKW. As you're typing in, I want to know your biggest earnings, wins and losses. SKE. I think that's the one he wants. No, that's SKC. I can't look. If I can't find it, then I might have to skip over it. BKW is Brickworks, I'm guessing. And this one still looks pretty good. Starting off with our trends, obviously. Two greens, that's always a good start. Light green for the short-term trend and dark green for the long-term trend. Of course, we're talking about the 2134 EMAs for the short-term and the 144 233s. But even if you don't know what they are, they're in your TradingView. Just a reminder, if you do have a TradingView account, I can give you these indicators. Just send me a message with your username, your TradingView username, and I'll add you, and then you'll be able to view these on your TradingView charts. Three very decent candles on Thursday, Friday, and today, pushing into what is a clear point of supply up here at 29.32. And I don't think there's a lot of trepidation, to be fair. I'm not sure when this one reports. It might be soon. Actually, I think Brickworks reports slightly offset to your typical company, so actually it probably isn't reporting. That's my guess. So that's even better because we don't have this, potential hand grenade of an earnings result hanging over our head. I can see higher troughs, not higher peaks yet, but the next peak will be higher. We've taken out that. We're up there. It's all good. I can't see any reason why you wouldn't own this right now. I can't see any reason why, if you did own it, you would think about running anything less than a full risk position at this stage. Look, if it is SKC for Brendan, then, and you were potentially looking at this maybe as one of those high risk entries, then those, what do I call it? The early entries, aggressive entries. That's the word I'm looking for. I mean, that's the big candle there. Obviously, we've got the gap, and it's been pretty much straight down since. I'm going to say, look, for all intents and purposes, we're back in the long-term downtrend. The short-term trend is turning down. Today's candle is good, and we may well actually push up from here. But I just would maintain a very cautious approach, and I'd be looking for any signs of excess supply, so upper shadows, black candles. I'd be very aggressive on exits if that's the case. Look, as long as it keeps printing white candles and we do make a higher trough, it is going to be a higher trough here, you're okay. I could see a path to holding it, so it's not what I automatically go, well, geez, I can't own that. But yeah, look, it's not knocking my socks off. That is if you're going for SKC, they're not SKE, Brendan. I couldn't find SKE, and I'll do one last thing, just endeavour to try and find it. And Skilled Engineering was SKE, but it stopped trading in 2015, so did my best for you there. Thank you to Hoozle for checking up on me, making sure I'm still in the land of the living. There were a couple that came through. I'm trying to remember where they came through. I've got lots of Rebecca, that's who I'm after. Ramsay Healthcare and A2 Milk, I'll do those, and then we'll get over to your requests. RHC. Oh, is this an aggressive setup? No, I don't think it is. We're still seeing significant influence from the long-term downtrend. Remember, in this dynamic zone of resistance, and if you don't believe it is, I guess you would ignore it at your own peril, and it has certainly impeded price action 1, 2, and even 3 or 4 times. And we're still printing black candles around there. We are seeing some signs of higher troughs coming into the system, and it's one of those classic TA wedge patterns, and in theory, whichever way it breaks out of that, you could go with it. If I had it, look, I could see a path to holding it because it's not completely awful, but I would certainly be watching very carefully an area like probably that trough there. So if we say that low is 50.21, I wouldn't want to see it close beneath that. I certainly wouldn't want to see it close beneath 48.95. I think it really is lost beneath there. To add some risk to it, big white candle would be required to get me in. It would have to go pretty deep into that downtrend zone, I think, to nullify it. Certainly, it would need to close above that peak there, 52.52, and preferably even because of the strength of that downtrend, I think above 52.75, and maybe that's me being a bit conservative. But in the meantime, I don't think there's a whole lot to do with it. Until then, it's been a serial underperformer for such a long period of time. Something that was a serial underperformer, and maybe this is in Ramsay Healthcare's future, I don't know. Nothing goes down forever, is A2 Milk, and you can see how these trends change. I'm trying to think now if we saw any major influx in volume coming into that Ramsay Healthcare. Let's have a look. And it isn't. It's dead as a doornail, isn't it, in terms of volume? There's not a whole lot of interest here. There was down here with this low, and that helps stamp out a low, but we haven't really seen much since then. Look, if it closes above a couple of those peaks I talked about, we want to see a bit of a bulk volume push to get it going, to show that interest is coming in and also supply is being removed. Just coming back to A2 Milk, just to in this, I guess, to solidify this theory of what these big lows look like, and they do tend to be accompanied with that volume push, certainly through there. So there's interest coming in, supply coming out. Big white candles are definitely what we want to see, and I think that's pretty much what I said I needed from Ramsay Healthcare. That's all in the past, obviously pushing through the long-term trend zone. That's good. Pulling back, holding, testing, big up there, white candles, all very healthy and very happy here in terms of what it's telling us about the balance between demand and supply in the market. And for me, this is a picture of excess demand once again. It is not bottom left, top right. Okay, it's not blue sky, so there are potential historical areas of supply that we may need to contend with, and in that regard, there is a zone here, and that's quite an interesting zone because not only was it a major point of demand there, but it also acted as a pretty significant point of supply as well. So we're pretty close to that. $6 is a bit of a round number. I'm not too stressed out about it though. And then look. It doesn't mean we need to look at that level and manage our risk. I don't think that's the case because the candles are too strong into that level. Remember, a potential point of supply in the past, there's that word potential. It might be a point of supply. We don't know it's going to be a point of supply until we get there. Potentially all of the supply that was created at that low and at that peak there, potentially that supply is washed out through here. So who's to say it must therefore act in the market and manifest itself in black candles or upper shadows at that point? There's no reason that it has to. But if we get them, we see those that we know it is. So I'd be watching that level, but only just for extra caution. If we got through here, through that level, then that's the next level up there. But I think it's fine. I think it's fine until we see candles we don't want to see. Happy with that one for you, Rebecca. I just want to check if Michael had anything in his email. No, he was querying whether we ran last week, and we did not run last week. That's all the offline requests, I think. Apologies if I missed yours. Send them to me again next week, or send them to me and I'll answer them offline. Let us then head back to your live requests, and I'll just do the Aussie ones first, and then we'll go to the US ones after that. How was Tay? Tay was at her sparkling, amazing best, King. Adonis is asking for CBZ in the USA. We might skip that one for the second, and then we'll do GMG in Australia, which, you know, we're talking about these pictures of demand, aren't we? This is such a great chart here, and it's one of those few times where, you know, the broker and the talking head rhetoric match up, isn't it? And it's unfortunately one of those. It happens a few times, doesn't it? But it's wonderful what it does, because then you kind of maybe it gives you a bit more confidence, because you're hearing how great and what a great quality this stock is. But obviously it's you know, being borne out in the price action, and the price action is good. We can see, you know, generally high peaks and high troughs. A little bit of a compression here, maybe in the shadow of $30, but nothing I'm concerned about. The candles are still very, very good. There's a few black candles sneaking around here, but look at them. They're small and they pale into insignificance compared to the strength of the white candles and the gap ups and holds for that matter. So I'm very happy with this. If I had this, I would hold it. I would run a full risk position. That's me. If I didn't have it, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't own it. It's a little bit close to $30, which I do think is a significant round number. But you know, I was going to say it's blue sky from here. It's not. Well, that surprised me a little bit. It's GFC stuff, isn't it? That's how long ago that historical high is, and I'm not worried about that at all. So forget I even zoomed out that far. It's completely irrelevant. If you've been holding it since the GFC, you're not worried about $33 or $34, that's for sure. That is the furthest thing from your mind. We'll do your CBZ a little bit later on. Adonis likes a bet, says, good chat with Dale. As always, is also about what he didn't say. Yeah, look, I really enjoyed that. It's a very different aspect of this role, I guess, I've got at Market Index /Livewire, is being able to interview some of these CEOs. I'm normally on the other side of the questions, aren't I? I'm normally the one getting asked the questions, so it's quite interesting to be posing those questions. And my goal in this aspect of the role is to not be one of those, you know, financial journo types that just ask questions and then doesn't listen to the answer and then asks a question that, you know, the person has answered in the last question. So that's my goal, is to change the questions up, make sure that the people watching, which is you, get the most out of it. And it was really good fun, and two really interesting people to meet and have a chat with, both online and offline. Rob Scott, who is quite an impressive individual actually, and obviously Dale Henderson from Pilbara Minerals. Let's keep moving. Not talking about me, talking about your stuff today, and we want to do OPT. Actually, let's do Pilbara Minerals while we're here. And I'm kind of relieved actually, because I didn't want to have to be tweeting something really bearish about Pilbara Minerals in and around the interview. So it's good that the price action started to pick up, and I can be a little bit bullish about it. You would have seen my tweets today, and I think there's something going on here. I mean, there's just too many white candles around this sort of between 310 and the current price for it to be a coincidence. And if I was a short seller, I'd be looking to cover back. I mean, I would have been active in the market, and maybe that's what those white candles are, to be fair. Short sellers realizing that the time limit on this trade is probably coming to an end, and they're working in the market. The big question will be whether there's enough short covering to push it higher, and there's enough real demand out there, because most of the brokers are really bearish on it. They've got price targets sort of $3 and sub $3. So fascinating. A close above 401, I think, would really put the cat among the pigeons, and I think it'd be worth getting the popcorn out and seeing how it goes there. Is this an aggressive setup for us and for my trading methodology? Look, I think it is. I think it's worth having some risk on this. As I said, too many white candles for it to be a coincidence, and that's really important for me. You know how much I love clusters of white candles. They speak to me of accumulation in the market. They speak to me of programmed orders. They speak to me of somebody with a big block of shares they need to buy, and the motivation is there to continuously be feeding demand into the market. And I think we got to this point in lithium where if you were going to sell, you had sold. And in the absence of that really active supply in the market, and perhaps even if you're going to get short, you're short. So people who own the shares, if they're not true believers, they're out. And if you're playing for shorts, you're in. And therefore, who's left to sell? And then it only takes a little bit of demand to push it through some of those levels to get some of the momentum traders back in. I think it's a really interesting one. It is not something I would treat any more than a risk position at this stage. And if I was to see this develop into a close above 401 with a nice big white candle, I could add some risk there, and then we would see how we go after that, because we want to see a test and a hold of the long-term trend ribbon, that trend ribbon change, and so on and so forth. And obviously, somewhere up here is where you'd be contemplating your upside targets. Let me get rid of that. I realise I'm probably in the wrong place, because I don't want to put too many scratchings on this chart, because that's the chart I use in market index. I want to keep those fairly clean, and these are the ones I can just keep for us. So let's move over there. I'm going to head over to Amber, and Amber's asking for ACW. Oh, this hasn't really gone so well since the last time we looked at it, have we? Which I'm guessing is somewhere around here. We put a plus 1/3 on it. This was Actinogen. Okay, it's ringing some bells. I mean, even there, you're probably another plus 1/3 on that candle there. This candle, I wouldn't object to it. I would prefer if it closed on the high, but not too bad. And then where does it all go wrong? That candle there, again, you're getting volume, you're getting volatility, you're getting price action. That candle for me is not enough to tell me to get out. It's not bullish. It is bearish. But is it enough to shake me out of a third of what I've added up to this stage? I don't think so. The next one probably isn't even enough either, because it's got that lower shadow. It probably just snuck in. If that was a close on the low, absolutely, and it's a pretty decent pullback from there. And I think it's this one here, just being very honest with you, that probably gets me out. And then that upper shadow there gets me out the second third. And I reckon between a combination of these, I'm probably just taking the medicine on this one and saying, well, it's been a long time to get here, and it might be a long time to get back. At most, I think you could run with plus 1/3 at the very, very most. And I don't mind it, because there is a potential here that we treat the long-term downtrend ribbon, I should say, we treat it as dynamic demand now. So remember, it's dynamic resistance until we get above it, and now it acts as demand. We're not really seeing much of that just yet with these candles, so that's why I'm saying that cluster of 3. I think I'm minus 1/3 and ending up flat on the trade. And, hooly-dooly, whoop-de-doo, not the end of the world. If you wanted to feed some out with the round number of 5, I would have left that to your own devices. And we're probably flat on the trade at this point in time. And if you're not, then at most plus 1/3. That would be my view on that one. And it does demonstrate, how active my model is, and the rationale for that is I don't want to get caught. I don't want to be stuck in something that's not going anywhere, because there's so many other things that are. Is this one something that's going somewhere? Look, it's not terrible. I think if it had closed at its high today, I could get very, very interested. A little bit of volume coming in, but not on the right candle. I can see there's not a lot of volume here generally, so it is a little bit illiquid. The price action could be better. We are turning the corner, so that's good. This is not a complete write-off. I could give this a very warm 5.5 out, maybe that's generous, 5 out of 10. It's a bit of a 50-50 bet. If it got a full white candle here, I certainly could have given it a much higher score. But look, it hasn't done that. It doesn't mean it can't do well. I think as long as it stays above this area here, and this, this is clearly an area that's acting as supply. I wonder what it was in the past. Let me sort of track it back. It's nothing too obvious. There's a bit of a zone there, okay, where people got caught in the market, and now this represents for them an area where they can break even, finally breaking even. And maybe that's what we're seeing. As long as we kind of stay in and above, we don't really close too much beneath this range, I'm happy with it. Next white candle, look, if it was the best thing on the day, I could add to it. I'm not sure if it will be the best thing on the day, but it would have to be that way. If I had it, I could hold it on the basis of everything I said. It's not terrible, but I'm not naturally gravitating towards it. What would change it? Big white candles and a nice volume push. I could become interested. Let's wait for that to occur. From Jason VST, Vulcan Steel, it's very sideways, isn't it? There's a lot of choppy price action, a lot of overlap in the candles as well. This is not a chart I would naturally be drawn to, okay? I naturally would just flick past this chart, as in if I'm going down my list, boom, 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 looking for stocks, I wouldn't spend more than a second on this. That price action is such a turn off for me. This is where I cover my ass. I'm not saying it can't go up. I don't know the future. It's got a history of being very difficult. It's got a history of the demand and supply environment not really being able to say decisively what the value of this company is. And therefore, if they can't be decisive, then how can I be decisive? So I'm going to say no on that one. And I'm just looking at the rest of them. It's not actually VSL, it's VST. So I've typed, and that's the closest thing. It's actually a US one. But hey, there's a lesson in if you do have something that looks like that, then Carl doesn't like it. Jason, I'll do those US ones a little bit later on. I will be more careful now in figuring out which country we're in. BRN, Brainchip, I think looks fine. Could it have been one of those aggressive setups? Yeah, absolutely. It could have been one of those aggressive setups, but where? Let's look at that candle there. Let's think about what the volume was on that day. It was a nice volume. And then, really after that, that's given it a push. Let's see for the next push, maybe that candle. It was hard. There weren't any obvious candles through here with the upper shadows. That's an obvious one there. Certainly you could buy there, and certainly you could add a third there, and you're in it now. Those candles don't scare me at all. They're not the most bullish of candles, but they're not bearish either. Okay, so it's just a pause. It's come a long way very quickly. Where could we find some supply in the market? In fact, I do think you'll see a significant amount of supply should you get up there. Okay, but we're nowhere near there. If I had it, I could certainly hold it. The candles aren't telling me that I need to lighten the load just yet, but I would be attentive for signs of black candles or upper shadows. And even then, if I saw those, assuming they're moderate enough, I would only be looking to lighten the load here and maintain some risk into what is a developing trend. It could be the start of another very big trend for Brainchip. Okay, so I'm very open to having some risk on that one. VEE, keep moving. This is a wonderful chart here. Double greens, great start. It is illiquid, nowhere near as liquid as that Vulcan Steel, that's for sure. But we do have some motion, and we're seeing that when we push up, we pull back. We're holding the second from last peak on the last trough, and this sort of step up pattern is very good. The candles are very good. Even a little bit of volume there coming in around that supply level tells us we're removing some of that supply. So pretty happy with that one. If I had it, I would certainly be happy to hold a full risk position and even add some here. No complaints at all to do that if I didn't have it. Let's go to TCL, which is Transurban. This one has some real problems, obviously. The long-term trend, for starters, short-term trend's not great. We do have some decent price action coming in through here. So these candles are very good. Nice little white candles, lower shadows, white candles. A little bit of a pause today because we're pushing into a point of supply. It's just so ho-hum. I just think there's so much that needs to happen here to get me into this. I'm not saying it can't go up. I'm not saying it can't do well, but I just think we'll find easier charts, cleaner charts, where it's just more evident that demand is overwhelming supply. And look, even if we do get through here, then you've got a bit of a problem up here. And that is quite a significant point of supply, gaps from here. And then you've got one not far away, and then you've got sort of this. I just put this in the too hard basket. Okay, so I don't know what the dividend yield is. I don't know what the earnings are. I don't know what its growth prospects are. I don't know what the broker consensus is. But I'm going to put to you that if you think about all of those things holistically, it's not stimulating the market to demand in such a way that we are eliminating any supply that's out there. In fact, supply is active enough in the market to cause a train wreck of a chart like that. Let us keep moving to EVN. We're train wrecks of charts, and look, a little bit disappointing. It wasn't looking too bad over here, but you can see where the price action is a bit overlappy, lots of sprinklings. These are sprinklings of black candles. In particular, pay attention here. Much like I said, white candles are accumulation, they're programmed buy orders. Just these sprinklings of black candles, they are programmed sell orders. Having said that, it was going up with those programmed sell orders, but eventually they got the better of them with some bad news, and that's the gap drop here. If I'm not mistaken, it was a placement for a takeover. If I'm not mistaken, I'm happy to stand corrected on that one. And when you have these big drops, you know what I call them, and you can see why I call them that now. What do I call them? Species ending events. Okay, think meteor and dinosaur sort of stuff. That's not good. And it's very hard to come back from those because, number one, they're telling you that the market thinking has shifted. Number two, it puts a lot of traders, a great number of traders, and more importantly than that, it's a great amount because it doesn't. You could have two traders, but with a lot of stock, isn't it? I mean, or you could have 1,000 traders with one share each. But there's a lot of stock now that's in a loss. Okay, in a loss that was really geared towards and leveraged towards longs, and really now they're looking at anything close to where they got in. You can see where they're getting in for a long period of time. It's all around that 360 level. That represents a break even for them, and they're going to continue to try and undo that mistake and supply into that area, or they're going to realise the writing's on the wall and they're going to be moving out anyway. If I was to give this a score out of 10, that is for going long, it'd be a 0. Okay, I'm not sure if I need to spend any more time talking about it than that. Hey, if you're looking for a short trade, then this one looks, if it's a 0 for longs, then it must be a 10 for shorts. As part of a balanced portfolio. ELD, I like this one. It's the opposite to the other one, isn't it? It's going up. We've got green. We've got amber that's transitioning. It's compression in that long-term trend zone. We've pushed through it. We've tested it, we've held, we've come out it with white candles. Not a huge volume push, was it? A little bit here, and dying off down, that's fine. It just indicates there's less supply in the market for the demand to contend with. Is there demand in the system? Yes, there is, like green zone. I'm pretty happy with this one as long as it remains above whatever that is, closed beneath 850, let's call it, and that would change my thesis. Big black candles would change my thesis, upper shadows would change my thesis, but there's nothing to change my thesis at this stage. If I had it, I'd be running a full risk position. If I didn't have it, it would have to be the best thing on the day. Look, it's a little bit quiet now, isn't it? It's kind of lost some of that upside volatility, but I don't mind it at all. Okay, let's go. It's a big list from now. I'm trying to remember. Remind me what your name is there again. It was James. I think it was James. I can't remember. Elders, FLT. See, this one was looking quite good too, wasn't it? And today's candle's a little bit disturbing. I don't think there was a dividend in there, but it is worth checking. Let me do that for you now. Let's go here. And we have to be careful because after earnings season comes dividend season. And we don't want to be inferring from a big black candle or a gap that there's a demand supply event when in actual fact it's just a dividend, which is a capital event, a capital return. And I'm seeing here Flight Centre, there's no dividend. Actually, it doesn't even report now anyway. It looks like it kind of reports a little bit offset there. So October was the last one. In fact, no, it might revert back to March, but it's not now. Okay, so that's the important thing. In that case, that is a demand supply event. It's not a great candle. I would be looking to manage my risk on a close beneath that level. I'll give you a number. Let's go here, and the low there is 2104. So let's go close below 21. I'd be lightening the load. Am I happy to run a full risk position till then? Yes, I am. The chart's good enough to do so. Okay, let's keep moving. I want to get through this quickly because I started late. IPX, another great looking chart. If I had it, I would hold it. There's nothing so sinister in that chart to suggest to me that I would do anything else but run a full risk position here. If I didn't have it, could I buy it? It's not bad at all, is it, for a buy? There's a little bit of supply up here that's given me not cause for concern, but maybe just food for thought. Okay. Look, next white candle, I could, next white candle, big white candle, maybe a little bit of volume, tell me I'm removing some supply there, closing near that high, and I could add some risk. It's a little bit of a ways from the light green zone, but it just indicates my confidence in the current setup, okay, in what I'm seeing in the demand-supply environment there, and OPT, which we have done previously. Lithium stocks turning around, question mark, is the downturn finally over? Look, I don't know, Amber, I can't tell the future. But what I can do is look at some of the charts for you and tell you if I think that there's enough demand coming in to overwhelm supply and therefore increase the probability that these might actually go up. Is core lithium, I can't believe I'm even asking this question, is core lithium an aggressive trade, an aggressive setup? I think it's closer to an aggressive setup than a short trade, that's for sure. Do we have a low set with a nice big white candle and large volume, large volatility? Look, that candle wasn't perfect, was it? But it's still got a decent white body on it. It's still definitely engulfing. That white body is engulfing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip that one, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look, that candle and that candle's volatility is significant. The fact it didn't close on its high is a bit disappointing, but not surprising given the strength of the trend and the psychology of any rally I need to sell the hell into up to that point. And this is what we're trying to think about here is, well, what is the psychology and is it changing? And we really need to be going from I need to sell the hell out of every rally into maybe I need to buy the dip. So this is important. I'm going to give it a tick, I'm going to give it a tick, and I'm going to give it a tick, and then we're kind of looking for confirmation of that. That candle's not bad at all. That one's not bad, lower shadow. That's not terrible. That's, we're kind of going down, but a fighting retreat. Even that one's a fighting retreat. And then today's candle, I think, is the key, actually. And a nice close on the high. Is this an aggressive setup? And we're actually holding the short-term trend ribbon. Look, I gave you one not that long ago, and I thought, again, this is a great case study. It was on this candle here. Pointed out many of the same things I pointed out on core lithium. And I said to you, hey, these are high-risk plays, and you're putting in nothing more than just the riskiest of risk money. And when we talked within this spectrum of plus 1/3, we said not even plus 1/3, right? I mean, that's how aggressive these setups are. But when we get confirmation, that's when we can add into them. We can add into them quickly and take advantage of potentially a large rally like A2 Milk as one we saw before. So that is one clearly where it continued. The leopard didn't change its spots. More bad news came out. And you could say, well, I told you so. But the whole idea is if you've put out enough of these little ones, yes, you're going to lose on a few of them, but some of them are going to return bags for you, or at least give you more confidence to get into something that you might ordinarily really struggle to get into because you've already got a winning position. So it's good to look at SGR, and it's good to look at the fact that it didn't work out when we consider something like core lithium. Okay, I really do think it frames this. I'm going to put my neck on the line and say, I think you can dip a toe, half a toe, in the water on this one and see how you go. And we'll have a look at the candles. If the candles turn sour, then we'll take the half the toe out. If it starts to build with some white candles, we might be able to ride it from 25 to 35 or 25 to 40. Who knows? We don't know. But I'm going to say, for you, Amber, that one looks interesting, doesn't it? We talked about Pilbara. Let's look at Liontown. Very similar, isn't it? We're seeing more greater prevalence of white candles. It's telling you there's some accumulation coming on. Maybe it's just short selling. Maybe it is just short selling. But there is greater demand and supply coming into the market. It's still very early. You can see from the trends, and it would be nothing more than an aggressive setup. I'm not sure if I like this one as much as core, just because core seems to have that sort of better pop and then pull back and then hold. Let me just remind myself. We're splitting hairs a little bit. Probably going to go core over this one. Although if you said, hey, Carl, I'm going to just put sleep at night money on this, I wouldn't complain. But we're understanding a close beneath that low there, close at 106 or worse, and we're taking that money out, and we're going to lose a very small fraction of our small fraction and go look at something else. And that is, hey, if you're up for aggressive setups and you could be bothered because maybe you just want to ride the turnaround place and the bottom left top right, so you don't want to waste your time and your energy contemplating these, and that's fine with me as well. Let's have a look at SYA. And there you go. I mean, this is a really good case study because I don't think, based upon the candles we can see, that there's any point proceeding here. Having said that, I mean, that's interesting there. I mean, look at the volatility. I mean, that's the greatest volatility in 3, 4, maybe even longer months. Huge volume and a decent candle. Maybe that's where you could have a go, or that candle there. Even as late as that, or that wouldn't have turned out so well for you, but not on this candle here. So let's skip past that one. PLL I saw came up in the market index evening wrap today. No point looking at that. Let's go bigger into town. Mineral Resources, I've seen a lot worse. No, I think this one's more now that we're at the dynamic resistance of this long-term trend zone. Let's just wait and let this one do the work a little bit more, and then we want to see something like that. If you see that, then we're in business. So if we see, imagine that long-term trend ribbon probably even starts to turn sort of amber around here. Okay, so we're feeling the dynamic supply. We're having a little bit of a pullback, but we're there pushing above it. We're seeing more compression in that long-term trend ribbon. We're coming back, throwing in some nice lower shadows there, or white candles, and then pushing up again. I think that's when I'd be looking at it as a turnaround play, and or if it maybe comes in and interacts with here, $70. I think there's a bit more work to do here. But hey, look, if you're a Mineral Resources shareholder, good news. It's looking a lot better than it was not that long ago. IGO, yeah, you can see the haves and the have-nots. No volume at all, is there? There's really nothing in the volume there to suggest that anything big is happening at this stage. So probably just a wait and watch on that one. And I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. But look, I think we've done enough on those. Let's keep moving. I want to get through all of these today. We want to do interesting big white candle on BTH today. Let's check that one out. BTH. Okay, well there you go. This certainly looks like one of those aggressive setups. We're kind of getting a little bit fixated on these now, aren't we? But there's the big white candle. The volatility is substantial compared to the recent past, and we've got a little bit of volume coming in. Could I dip a toe in the water on this one? Absolutely, yes, I could. So thank you for pointing that one out for me, King, because it does illustrate the concept there. Let's go to ADX. This one's for Max. There's a big white candle, aggressive setup. Yes for me. Volatility, bit of volume. They actually started a little while ago on the news results, so maybe even on that day there. Certainly on that day there, or that day there, it's toe in the water stuff at this stage. It's starting to develop more into one of those turnaround plays that even one of the aggressive setups at this stage. Let us go to ACF, which is more of the bottom left, top right. But this candle here is a little bit disturbing. Is it enough for me to go minus 1/3? It's pretty damn close. Look, I'm just going to go as a precautionary measure here. And if you're not feeling it, and you wanted to say, look, I'm going to stick with it, Carl. I'm going to continue with my FRP, my full risk position on this one. I don't mind, okay? But I'm looking at that. Maybe I'm being a bit nervous, aren't I? I'll leave it up to you. It's not an ideal candle, okay? We don't want to see those after a big run. And listen to my tone, right? We're not dumping everything here. This is just a question of whether we're managing some risk on this, okay? Okay, let's do AD8. Do we need to manage risk on this? No, we don't. Look, there are no white candles up there. There's no upper shadows. Everything's hunky-dory. Hey, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe those candles start appearing tomorrow, and then you would know what to do with it. You would know whether you need to manage your risk. But until then, that looks very good. Could I add risk up here? Let me try and find something that hasn't had a huge gap and run just yet. Maybe we'll try and find something a little bit closer to the green zone. But hey, if you did, I wouldn't complain at all. And we might find some of those charts today. Very happy with that one. TPW, that's not that one. Let me try again. TPW's Temple and Webster. This is just amazing, isn't it? What a wonderful looking chart. And proof, ladies and gentlemen, absolute proof that when you do see the gaps and the runs, that things aren't too expensive. They aren't too high to buy, okay? And there you go. Maybe I'm convincing myself to buy the last one as well. because it's very similar. These are cleaner candles here, make no mistake. We're looking at TPW and the last one, which was AD8, both very good. I think TPW has the cleaner of the candles, doesn't it? And the cleaner of the price action. We're talking about comparing, a 9 out of 10 with a 10 out of 10, aren't we? That's how close they are. Okay, very happy with that one. I'd happily add some risk to that today. MRM, another one that's done very well. Is this the species-ending event? No, I don't think it is. Number one, it didn't really go down in the day. There was a big supply in the market, but it was still flat on the day, give or take. But it does frighten me. Okay, there is supply active. They didn't like the result for whatever reason, and that may just shift their thinking from accumulation to distribution. It may shift the trend from up to sideways. Maybe up is no longer on the table. Maybe sideways and potentially down somewhere down the track if demand is exhausted is out there. So I'd be really attentive on this. I think you need to look for a close beneath there. That's the key point now, and the low there is 191.5, let's call it. So maybe close beneath 190, you're managing a risk. If you see another black candle in and around this upper shadow here, around sort of 210, any black candles, any upper shadows, then I do think you start to manage your risk, just as a precautionary measure. Get that process started. Okay, it's easier to make that mistake and get a good exit price. You know what I mean? Like it's easier to sell a bit too early than to sell a bit too late if it's going to turn around. Okay, think about that. Okay, so just getting that process started if you see those black candles. And hey, whenever I cover a stock, I'm not just talking about that stock. I'm talking about any stock which has that pattern in the future. It's just something to take along with you on your trading journey. SRG. Very choppy. We've done some work on this, haven't we? It's hitting those red resistance zones, and it's doing pretty well actually. So if you've got it, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be running FRP. I don't know what I said about it in the past, but I'm saying now FRP tick, FRP tick. Would I buy here? If I would be happy to have there's the tick and the flick. If I'd happy to have a flick from 78 to maybe 82, I mean there's pretty major supply level up there. I think this is more, if you're not on it, maybe you've missed this one. Look for something else, would be a cleaner price action, cleaner candles, because these are not clean candles at all. But if you've got it, you've done the hard work, then you could stick with it. Let us keep going. We are big on the Aussie stocks today. SG Fleet. Which is really liking these candles through here. So we're talking about this, that has a bit of an upper shadow, but a nice white body. So I won't point to it. I'll point to that candle there. This one's good. It's feeling a little bit of supply around this zone, but it's dealing with it, I think, pretty well. It could pull back a little, given that last candle, but I don't think it'll pull back too much. Certainly, I don't want to see it close beneath here. Okay, because this candle's low is where a substantial amount of demand came into the market, and that low there, so 264. Wouldn't want to see it close 263 or less, but happy to run a full risk position if I had it, and I could contemplate adding some risk if in the next nice white candle, next nice lower shadow in and around 280. But I'm pretty happy with that one. Let's go to SIG, which, if I'm not mistaken, this was the Chemist. I'm going to say it's under takeover. It's not under takeover. Actually, it did the taking over of Chemist Warehouse as a backdoor listing, a reverse takeover. It looks fine. It's sort of just trekking up the screen, isn't it? There's nothing in there to suggest that it can't continue that trek at all. In fact, if anything, the candles and the price action is suggesting it can continue, but it's going to be a slow grind because that's what we're seeing, and there's just not enough sort of demand impetus to suggest anything more than a slow grind from here. But if I had it, I could hold it. If I didn't have it, I'm probably going to look for something a little bit more exciting. Ethereum, might come back to Ethereum, and I'm just going to get to the bottom of this list on on the Aussie stocks. Oh, there you go. This is what a wonderful turnaround play this is. I mean, it's really doing everything we want it to do as a turnaround play, where you can see some of the shades of aggressive setups in here. Really, that candle there, that candle there, that candle there. These three are really interesting candles. Pull back, hold, that candle, that candle. Really interesting for aggressive setups through here, even as late as there. Probably would have got you out of that position. That's half interesting, didn't follow on. This is interesting because it backs up this low here and then sort of through here. This is all good, pushing up, coming back, pulling back, holding this area here, which I'm about to draw in. So that's being held. Big white candle off it, obviously a result today. This is a bit of an issue because, there's going to be a bit of supply up here. Can we make reward to risk? Look, I'm going to say in the strength of that last candle, it's just too good to be ignored, especially when I combine it with that, and for me, therefore, I can put aside that point of supply, any concerns thereof, and write plus 1/3 absolutely on the screen for that one. That is a good move, and a great case study there for a turnaround setup from you, Nicola. King, big win, believe it or not, CXL. For potentially an aggressive setup, King. Maybe you went on that candle that I'm highlighting here for an aggressive trade, and if you feel like you just want to take the money and run on these things, that's fine too. I don't think I'd be persisting too much with it. I think really what we're seeing here is some pretty aggressive supply coming back into the market. So just for the time being, I wouldn't be looking for longs at this stage. I'm not saying it can't go up, but no, I think the balance of probability swings back on this one, and that can happen on these aggressive setups. Can happen very quickly. Swings back to the supply side being in control. Let's go. Big win, says King, on CXL, possibly for earnings season, and then big loser was Alcoa. AWC. I'm not sure I understand that one. When Alcoa walked away, big loser FI, when maybe he's referring to CXL. I don't know the story enough. CU6, which is going pretty well. There's enough supply in here for me to change my mind on it though. So, right here, we're running a full risk position. Right here, we're running a full risk position. This is not enough. Oh, actually, look at this, into $3. I'll let you decide how you feel about whether that is. We certainly got within 1% of it. So whether that's a minus 1/3, I'm just going to put it on the screen, not saying that's me. I'll let you decide whether you want to do it. And then this one here's the compulsory one. Okay, so this is if you didn't do it here, you're also, if you did it here, you're also doing it there. If you didn't do it here, you're doing it here. This was almost the second. It's only just held on because of that lower shadow, but I think today's enough for it. So this is a minus 1/3 on today's handle, and we've got a very clear line in the sand now. I would suggest to you on a close beneath this. That is your final third on this trade there. Okay, so just a wonderful case study in how trend following works, where you're doing stuff like maybe even here on those two candles. That candle's not terrible at all. Certainly on this candle here, if you didn't on the other ones, there's plus 1/3. I reckon these would have been in my watch list on those days. Even there, that one probably upper shadow wouldn't have done it, but 100% would have done it there. 100% would have put it in my short list on that day. I reckon I'd probably put it in on that day as well. None of these. Maybe that one there. I don't mind that lower shadow. Certainly that one there. Certainly that one there. Obviously the white one, not the black one. Is that black one enough to get me out into 250? Not really, but if you did, I wouldn't complain, because you'd just be adding it back in there and adding it back in here and then adding it back in here. And it's just a great example of if you can get these trends and you can ride them out, how well you can go. Now, I don't know how many thirds you've got there. Let's use a number that's divisible by 3, and let's say you'd added 12 of them. Well, this minus 1/3 is 4 of those thirds, isn't it? Because it's a third of what you got. And then that's another minus, you'd have 8 left, and you'd go, you could if you wanted to go a third of that and exit in ever smaller increments, but let's just say you did another 4 there and another 4 there, or waiting to do another 4. That might disappoint you. You might think Clarity Pharmaceuticals is the best company in the world, and that it's blasphemy for me to even contemplate selling it. but that's just what my model suggests. I do think this is, I think that's a species ending event. So species ending event. So I'm more inclined to be just really finding any excuse now to be getting out of this. I get it. This is good, and this is not bad at all. But I'm concerned about what's going to happen in and around here. And if I see any sniff of a black candle, upper shadow in this zone here, then I will be managing my risk aggressively, okay, into this one. And that might turn out to be the wrong thing to do, but that's the way I'm looking at that one. I don't like that big black candle. It's telling me that the market's changed its thinking of it, and there's a lot of demand, I think, that's stuck in this one now that we'll be looking to get out. So I don't want to be one of those suckers that hangs on too long in a changing trend. Let us keep going with risky buy in LTR, which we've actually talked about that already. CAR, which is heading the other direction. Any reasons to sell this? I don't think so. A few little black candles up the top there, but nothing so sinister to tell me that supply is taking over control, and that's what it's all about. Who's in control? Is demand in control? We keep running a full risk position, we keep adding, or is supply taking control? We look to manage our risk. That's fine. BVS, which is not that one. Try again. BVS. Big pop up. Maybe that was one of your best wins, your big wins. So that's possible, Jenny. Hopefully you did. I don't like this last couple of candles though. It should be holding better than that. When you get those big gap ups, you should really ideally have a white candle, not a black candle. So that's a bit of a black mark to its name there. And the fact that we've actually come up and then thrown in that shadow and these two is not great. Look, I think there's enough in there for me to just go, look, I've had a good run on this, and I'm going to just go minus 1/3, and I'll play it by ear with candles as to whether I do any more than that. And I still think you've got some skin in the game here, absolutely, because of the trends. But I think just on that one, just taking a little bit off the table if you haven't already. Let's go to ENV. Wow, that is a big gap up today. Big run, strong candle. And look, it's not an aggressive setup in terms of, it's in a big downtrend, but I just think it's clearly a small company. It's clearly a specky company. But yes, I am all for plus 1/3, maybe plus 1/6 or something. But I think you do want to have a little bit of skin in the game. But it's risk money. Dare I say it's fun money to see how it goes. But that is a massive showing of demand, and I think you'd be remiss to ignore it. Okay, doesn't matter what you think. Okay, you think, I can't buy that. But everybody else today who knows the story and who cares what the story is thinking, I want to buy that. Okay. We're not in these things for a good time. We're not in these things for a long time. We're in them for a good time. Likes a bet. Following on, if you tweet about potential squeeze on PLS, we did discuss that one. Reduced all portfolio positions to 30% 1 day prior as a personal trading strategy after previous experiences. I think Matthew's talking about earnings season, and I think that's a very sensible thing to do, Matthew, because there have been some doozies this season as well. Okay, well, KGN was a surprise. Yeah, look, it wasn't obvious from the candles that came before it, but it was moving in a nice trend, to be fair, before that. Now, that is an amazing candle. I mean, that is, for me, again, it's like the last one. You're kind of compelled to act here. I know it feels like it's gone up a lot, but it just closed with such a clean white candle. I can't be ignored. You're not going to put the house on this one. But even if it is just to force yourself to do this, just to bite the bullet and say, look, I know this goes so against everything I've ever done. It goes against my grain as an investor, in my history as an investor. And, I'm trying to come around to this new way of thinking of just being a disciple of the trend. And I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to just put some money on this one, see how it goes. And I'm not saying that lightly or flippantly, because the credentials are amazing, aren't they? You cannot doubt those credentials there. Let us go to Dubber, which we were looking at for a bit of an aggressive trade. Hasn't done a whole lot since then, one way or the other. So I think, you're still running with whatever risk you put on it. It's not, we can't see any species ending events there. If it closed beneath these two candle lows there, then I think we can put this one to bed and go do something else with the money. But hopefully it prints a nice big white candle at some stage and fulfills its potential. Maybe not. Let's go to FND. Yes, this one rings a bell. We did speak about this one recently. Are we looking to manage our risk on this one at this stage? No, I don't think so. I still think it's quite healthy, actually. That big lower shadow is important. Today's candle is neither here nor there, but it looks like we're trying to hold that $2 round number. Like we've pushed through it. We're coming back, we're holding, we're testing. It's it's going from an area of potential supply to an area of potential demand. Look, the trends are exemplary. I've got no reason to run with anything but a full risk position here. I'd be watching carefully for any signs of any supply up there to confirm that that is a more sinister point of supply. But until then, no, still very happy with that one. Let us go to perhaps if we can stop putting in any more ASX ones, please. And I do need to get to the US ones preferably soon, because I can only imagine what time it is. Winsome Resources for an aggressive trade. It really hasn't had the volume or volatility showing of many of the other ones we've considered for an aggressive trade. So in that case, I think you're still waiting for more of a turnaround play, aren't you? You're still waiting for better price action. You're still waiting for interaction with the long-term downtrend ribbon. It's building some sort of semblance of excess demand here. Don't get me wrong, but it still feels like a downtrend to me. So I probably wouldn't put that in the category of aggressive setups at this stage, and there's not enough else going for it to me for me to be interested in it. Let us go to that one's for Adam. Let's go to CYP. Well, this one I could be interested in. Absolutely, it's actually more than an aggressive setup now, isn't it? Because we've done the work, we've pushed through, we've come back, we've held, now we're pushing. We do have some volume, we do have some volatility, and we've got all the good stuff here, and a nice big white candle to boot. It's got a history of being illiquid, but it looks like the liquidity is coming in. I'm a plus 1/3 here. Okay, so we've actually seen some really interesting, albeit quite aggressive setups today, haven't we? But that one looks quite interesting, and we need to sort of view all of the charts we look at today, from pretty much a sort of a top, an overarching view, taking an overarching view to say, well, I've got to the end now, and I can see that one that I thought was great at 12 minutes of Carl's presentation doesn't look so great now that I'm looking at some of these other ones. AccuSensus. Okay, not one I've seen. It's probably not meeting my liquidity filters in the past, I'm guessing. But it looks good. I can see some nice trends here. I can see a clear buy signal here, just the clearest of clearest buy signals there. Compulsory plus 1/3 here, another plus 1/3 here, a plus 1/3 here. So this is just giving an insight to how I would have traded it. I didn't, but that's how I would have traded it. And do I need to get out now? No, I don't think anything too sinister is going on. I'd be concerned. I wouldn't want to see it close beneath that trough low. It's a trough low now. So I might manage my risk on a close beneath, say, 107. But until then, I think you're hunky-dory. And even then, you're only looking at a minus 1/3 because the rest of the trend is still pretty good. Let us go to, I've done E and V. We've talked about that one, plus 1/6, compelled to trade that one. We see PAA. I don't know where you lot are finding these from. This is quite extraordinary, isn't it? This is quite extraordinary. Can I go plus 1/6 on that one? I can't recall a session, and for some of you, you've been tuning into these for over 2 years, where we've had this many, so these big white candles and emerging trends as well. That's wonderful. PAA, very interesting. Pharmost, Australia. CXU, what are we going to find now? No, we're not going to find it there. Let's keep moving. I have no interest in that one whatsoever, and I think you know why. I don't really have a lot of interest in this one anymore, and I think you know why. Today's candle is encouraging. In fact, what today's candle does is it gives you a wonderful line in the sand where the most ardent believer and supporter of the Lotus story would have to admit beneath that point, and that low there, 29.75. So I'm going to say closing really 29 or lower, maybe even 29.5 or lower. You have to say this party is over, and we are in good stocks for a good time, not a long time. I want to go find the next party. There's a huge list here. I'm trying to rush through. Aggressive setup. maybe not today's candle. Maybe it would have been ironically the day before. Even then, with the upper shadow, probably, yeah, not with the upper shadow there. And I don't think any of these candles here kind of allowed me that one there potentially, because there's your volume, there's your volatility, there's your volume, and it's significant. So if you kind of scratch back to here, and remember these are aggressive subs, and I don't know what you're doing to find this one. Honestly, I don't know how you would find this one on that day even, but that's kind of the essence of that aggressive setup. And this black candle, it's a no. No for today. FFG, but I've kind of, by introducing this, giving you carte blanche to throw at me a bunch of other crazy stuff. Fatfish, not on today's candle. I mean, yesterday's candle looked good, but it didn't follow through today, and that concerns me. I always, when I see big black candles, you know that concerns me. But yeah, on these ones where you've got vertical moves and the big black candles, I tend not to entertain these things, because I just think you've got such a huge battle up here that why are you wasting your time and your energy on something that really is going to struggle if it gets there, and then really you're looking at this sort of a move if you can be bothered. So no, I'm going to put that one in the too hard basket for me. Hey Carl, that's in the US. Okay, TWE. And I'm trusting that you're not putting in any new ones either. Look, I think something's going on here at TWE. I think this is definitely has the hallmarks of a turnaround setup. I like the fact that we are in this area here, and we're not showing a lot of fear, are we? This area is, make no mistake, it is a major area of supply, right? Area of latent supply. And there is some manifestation, to be fair. I mean, that's Friday's candle there. Friday's candle is manifesting this supply. And this is what's great about this technical analysis method I'm teaching you, is you can literally see supply manifesting itself in the candles. But look at today. I think today's saying we kind of got that supply out of our system. We're not really afraid of this. And up to this point, you know, we've had a little bit of a volume push. Decent candles. We're pushing through the long-term trends at ribbon. We're coming back. We're testing. We're holding. Short-term trends turning up. Look, I think this is a really interesting turnaround play. Maybe it's maybe a slightly longer term. Take a longer term view of it. And I do think we are dispensing with the supply in that area, and therefore it kind of opens us up maybe to some higher retracements, potentially around $14, which I think gives you some pretty good risk reward. Actually, I don't mind that one. Let us go to NVX, I think is where we're headed next. Yes, that's right, Novonix, and we are still looking at these aggressive setups. Yeah, look, I think this candle here or this candle here is where you could do it. We are seeing some supply coming in here, and it does demonstrate the riskiness of this. If you weren't already in it, I think you would just give this a bit of a wide berth. If you're in it, see how you go. Okay, you're literally in for a penny, but you don't have to be in for a pound, and that's really the philosophy here. Okay, in for a penny, not in for a pound. We've talked about Pilbara. SYR we haven't talked about. Is this a bit of an aggressive trade? Look, maybe. I'm starting to get a little bit worn out on these. My eyes are starting to get a little bit worn out on these aggressive setups, because let's face it, we don't ordinarily look at them. We don't scrutinise them this much. And can I say that this is the most horrific downtrend and just the poster child of my trend following methodology here. And let's face it, I still think this stuff is junk. Okay, it's junk. It's junk. But if there's an aggressive setup, it's for a little bit to see how it goes. But let us not forget, okay? I'm not giving you carte blanche to not follow the trend. I don't think that's the one. I don't think that's the one. It's too close to the trend ribbon. It needs to interact with that trend ribbon. Sometimes you get them a long way from the trend ribbon, so you've got that upside to play with before you're going to see that impediment. But this one's too close. I'm starting to get a bit concerned by some of the crap you're showing me. Wildcat Resources, not anywhere near as bad as those. It's come back, it's tested, it's held a long-term trend ribbon. It's actually pushing out with some reasonable price action and some reasonable candles. If you like reasonable price action candles, if you want fantastic price action candles, I think you're going to look somewhere else. I can see an area where supply should be manifesting itself. It did a little bit today, to be fair, still a white candle, but I'd be very, very concerned if I were to see further black candles and or upper shadows in and around this zone, because that would do probably what I expect it's going to do here and roll over from this point. But if it proves me wrong and it throws a bunch of white candles in around here, you're probably okay, and then it can seek out higher retracements. I'm probably speaking more to the person that has it, because you're looking to get some confidence from me that you should continue to hold it or at least explore where this can go. I don't think I'm talking to the person who doesn't have it, who's looking to get back in, because I'm not sure this one meets my criteria on that. Deep breath, Novonix, we're done. I still got to get to US ones. I think I'm going to pull the pin on Aussie ones. Latin Resources, no. Okay, no, stop it. Every 1/3 doesn't mean the same dollar value invested. It means a third of your whatever you would have before you met me, put into a trade, divide that by 3. Kogan commentary was that it was a short squeeze today. I think I don't care why. That's not my method of analysis, is asking why. I just do. Hi Carl. Only if you had time. GE. Okay, good. Let's do GE because we're going to get to the US ones now. We're going to head over here, and we're going to head over here, and we're going to go to GE, General Electric. Wow, and we fight, don't we? We fight, we battle, we slug away at the Aussie ones, and then we get to America and we go, it just seems to be so much easier there. Happy holder. Would I buy it here? Look, I wouldn't complain, but I'm guessing we're going to find a bunch of other stuff which is going to be closer to a buy than this one, which has already moved away from its light green zone. And we can see dozens of plus 1/3 there historically. Okay, so let's try and find some of those that are a bit closer. But if I had it 100%, I would happily hold it. Would the 2017 high, I'm guessing Matthew's talking about, concern me? Let's go back to 2017. I'm curious to see what he's talking about. And maybe we're talking about this high here. And look, it doesn't concern me, number one, because it's all the way up at $200 and we're miles away from there. And number two, 2017 for me is a long time ago, okay? So I can see 3 to 5 years max as historical peaks that could influence the market. But I think when you get further out than that, the people who are still holding, they've probably traded by now. They've moved out of those positions, and it shouldn't have too much of an impact on the market. I'm not saying it can't, but even then, okay, Matthew, when you get there, you'll know, because you'll see what candles print then. If you see a bunch of black candles up there, then guess what? There are still people that are worried about that level. If we get there with a bunch of white candles, it's nothing to worry about. So yes, we're mindful of these potential points of supply, but at the end of the day, it's still price action, it's still candles that dictate what we do when we get there. Let us go then back up to the top of the list. So this is good, actually. I should do this every week, rather than scrolling to the top and then going down back to the bottom where you can add more stuff in. So that's it. We're going to go up to the top now. So you can't add any more in. And let's do SNPS and hit enter on that one. Maybe it's one we've talked about in the past. I don't think you're putting this one forward, Peter, for a buy today, because we can see those last couple of candles aren't completely indicative of overwhelming excess demand. There's a bit of supply coming to the market. I know there was a gap there, to be fair, but it didn't finish the day with extreme confidence from the demand side. I think that big shadow there from Thursday night's trading, that's this one here, I think that's enough for me to go minus 1/3 on this one. Is Friday's candle enough to confirm and force me to add a third to that? No, it isn't. But I would be looking at a close beneath last night's candle on a close on the low as another minus 1/3, and then probably just keeping a third to see how it goes from here. But not looking to add risk on this one just based upon that set of technicals. Let us go to the next one, which I'm trying to find. You can hear me pausing there. SMCI, which is super microcomputer. Wow, that is some volatility. This big black engulfing candle is a species-ending event. I would see that. I would do more than a third. So I would go 2/3. for me, engulfing two hugely white candles, in fact, let me be honest with you, I'd be all out of this trade and I wouldn't care less what it does from here from now on. If I still had it, then I would view Friday's candle also as a supply side event, and an important one, because blending these two candles together, you're getting something that really does confirm what's happened here. So yeah, I think you're managing a risk out of this one. Hey, I could be wrong, and it could be $2,000 in 10 days' time. I don't know. But what this is telling me is we do have some extreme volume, extreme volatility, and some extreme price action to suggest a changing of the guard. The Johnny-come-latelys are getting in, and the big money is feeding them supply. That's for Peter. Let's head up to MARA. Okay, this is not familiar. A marathon. I'm concerned about the supply up at $30. It's real. It's motivated. It's not one I'd be looking to buy unless I actually really saw some clear signals that supply is being dealt with. So I want to see a bunch of white candles near $30, basically. Until then, I don't think there's anything you need to do with it. If you had it, I'd be really lightening the load beneath a close beneath 22, I'd say. Let us go to SNCR, and these are for Rupam. You're giving me some really curly ones today, everyone. I mean, look at that price action. Okay, let's do that and have a look. Shadow. Shadows in different directions. There is substantial indecision here in the market. If the market can't be decisive, how are we going to be decisive? Look, I'm going to pass on that one. I just think it's too hard. I'm going to put that one in the too hard basket, Rupam. PBYI, Puma Biotechnology. I think you're okay. I mean, if you blend these two candles together, you're getting big lower shadow at the light green zone. Look, what it does give you is a very clear point beneath which you can set your exits. So let's do that and try and make that a horizontal line. It's not letting me do it. If I do that, it does. So look, a close beneath 560. I believe you are more than managing a risk, because there's probably enough in it before that to be out a third. And then, that could be your second, third. The most you'd have beneath 560 is plus 1/3. Okay. So that one's a bit concerning. Let us go. Look, the supply from 750 is concerning. Don't get me wrong. This bounce saves the day, but it also gives us a point beneath which we have a clear exit point. Let's go to VST. We're finally going to get to the infamous VST. Okay, that's a little bit different from VSL in Australia. So what a wonderful trend. I don't have a bad thing to say about this trend. I only have good things. It's wonderful. Plus 1/3 all over it for me. That is a wonderful, wonderful chart. And that is Vistra Corp. Thanks, Jason. I think, Jason, you might have typed it in above, or maybe somebody else did. Let us keep going. We're going to FL. Foot Locker. There you go. Look nice. Yeah, look nice little developing trend here. Some good candles. Bit of supply to deal with, though. That would be the only thing that concerns me. And there's probably going to be a bit of pesky supply working around that $40 level. And on that basis, I'm not sure this is going to be the best thing we're going to find today. It's definitely not the worst. And if you wanted to add a third, I wouldn't tell you not to. But I question you as to whether we are going to find better things today than Foot Locker. Okay, and that's a decision, Nicola, that you will have to make yourself. Maybe one of your other two here that you're about to show me warrant an entry over Foot Locker. And I certainly think this one does. I think this looks very good. Oh, Robinhood Markets. Okay, so this is the trading platform that went berserk, of course, when we were all trading our stimulus checks, wasn't it? Robinhood, and this was if you've seen the movie with the talks, I can't remember the name of the movie, and I saw it on the plane to Melbourne. It's called Dumb Money, wasn't it? Dumb Money or something like that. And it tells you the story of the GameStop fiasco. And this company was at the centre of it all. I would happily buy that, Nicola. I would wipe my memory as to anything this company does and just buy it on the basis that, hey, the demand's coming back in and so there's not enough supply to hold it down. And I think that's a very, very good setup. So I'm a plus 1/3 on that one. And what's good about it is we can kind of, compare and contrast now with the first one you gave me of Foot Locker. And I really like this one actually as well. So this is a plus 1/3 for me. I think this is a better turnaround play than Foot Locker because I think we've got far more room to get to that $40 coincidentally supply zone. I like the build up here. I like the price action, I like the candles. I like the fact we're bouncing off that long-term trend river now. It was resistance, now demand. So pretty happy with both of those two. Let's go to NVIDIA. Probably can't do a session without looking at NVIDIA. And I'd love to call the top. I would love to call the top on this one at some stage. I don't think we're there yet. That last candle's not great, but it's not. I doubt it's the top. Famous last words. But it's certainly not enough for me to manage my risk on it. It may well be the top, but it's not enough for me to manage my risk. I'm not buying, obviously, on the basis of that last candle. But if you've got a happy holder at this stage, obviously you know what to look for in terms of managing your risk. Don't think we need to manage our risk on meta platforms either. I'm not a buyer based upon that last candle, but it is. We are more likely to be looking to buy this than we are to manage our risk anytime soon. And CAMT, we're talking, thank you, Matthew, following up. Matthew talking about his best earnings season, for a US earnings season, fourth quarter earnings season wins. So NVIDIA and Meta, hopefully you got them using my method, following the wonderful trends there. And the loser, it's interesting, was CAMT, which hasn't done that poorly thus far. But I do agree on Friday's candle is a manage your risk candle. So definitely taking some off the table there if you haven't. I can still see reason to be plus 1/3 sort of on this, but only if you could be bothered, because I think we're going to find now that some of these manage your risks are kind of just getting out because there's still plenty of momentum elsewhere. So why are we kind of, legging out of these when there's other good stuff to do with the remaining risk? Let us go to, I don't think we're far away because there weren't too many US ones today. I'm going to do Ethereum for Amber. So I'm just going to head over here and go to my crypto list. Bitcoin's doing well, no complaints. It's holding up there. I'm pretty happy with that one. I would like it to get through sooner rather than later, but I'm confident there's another leg up in that. I'm still hodling. Where would I get out? No, I think we're going to have a crack at that. Was it 63,000? Where was 65? What was the all-time high? I think we'll take a look at it. I think we can take a look at it, can't we? Yeah, 65. Look, we'll have a gander at that, and then we'll see how we feel. Ethereum. What's Ethereum going to do? That looks very good. I can't complain about that. If you sensing surprise in my voice, I own quite a bit of this stuff, but I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at it. That such is the nature of my crypto trading. I can tell you I don't follow my rules with crypto. I think this will keep going on it. Absolute confidence. Ignorance is bliss when it comes to my crypto. Look, I've got some skin in the game, but not enough that it keeps me awake at night, clearly. Let's go to here, and we're going to look at MUSA for Perry's. Oh, of course, Perry's MUSA. Thanks for waiting around, Perry. I know it's late wherever you are. It's getting later. Yeah, we are close to the top. We're nearly done. Wonderful chart. Murphy, USA, exemplary. Can't fault this in any way. In fact, we're breaking through 400 is even better. I'm guessing this is blue sky here. And it's a compulsory plus 1/3 for me. It is a wonderful chart. No surprise. ALPN. Let's see if we can beat it. The only complaint I have here is it's been so wonderful. It's a little bit extended, but even then, I can't fault it. It's a plus 1/3 for me on that one. Comparing the two, no, I can't. I think they're both plus 1/3. They both get my risk. HWM. Ditto. If I have any concerns, it's just mean reversion. That's all. But there's nothing in the candles to suggest there's mean reversion coming anytime soon. They're just pictures of demand. And we have talked about GE already. 4 very good setups there. 4 plus. Well, GE I was more of a hold, but the other 3 is certainly plus 1/3, and we are getting very close to the top here. HWM we have done. MYRG we haven't done. These are for now. These are for Jason now. I like this one as well. MYR Group, let me just zoom out and just see if it's blue sky, and it is, and this is a plus 1/3. So between Jason and Pira, we've got some really fantastic setups in the US. Also got RSG from Jason, and again, very, very good. It's a little bit slow and steady, but sometimes that's good too. Maybe it's a bit too close to 200. I think maybe that's going to draw me towards some of the other ones, which are, let's face it, looking just as good, that maybe aren't as close to big round numbers. And then CD, but I'm just nitpicking, CDRE, which is good, but I don't think as good as the other ones, because you see the overlappingness, if that is a word, of the price action there. I think this will go up, but I think it'll go up very slowly and with a bit of chop and churn. So I'm going to go no on that one. Not because it's a bad trend, but because there were so many other better setups that you gave me, Jason, also Perry gave me, and Nicola gave me a couple of really nice ones as well. And that gets me back to the top of the list, which is the end of the list. And I, deep breath, am going to enter there. I'm late, it's late your time, it's getting late my time as well. Let us sign off by saying, well, I suppose I'll read you the disclaimer again. Hey, everything we talked about, it's general. Does not take into account your personal financial circumstances, objectives or needs. You need to consider that stuff. That stuff is important. Seek the help of a financial professional to confirm that stuff before you act upon any of this information. Hey, trading and investing is risky. Not all charts go bottom, left, top, right. And you could lose money. And always remember, it's you who's responsible for you, not me. But I had fun tonight. I hope you did as well. Sorry for the late start. Sorry for the casual appearance. I'll be spick and span. Next Monday, we're back at the same time. All the best for your trading and investing. Until then, bye-bye for now.